Hey kids, it's Mr. Fly here, how you doing? Hope you're well. Now what sort of a nutter says in November, oh no, I don't want to go to Portugal and ride a motorcycle in the sunshine. I'd rather have one and test it in the real world when they're available to everybody. Well, that sort of nutter, you're looking at him. It's me. Because as you can see, it's a pretty hideously wet March day. And you find me today on another bike review. This is the Triumph Tiger Sport 660. Much anticipated motorcycle, as far as I'm concerned, because these are the sort of bikes that appeal to me, the do-it-all bikes. In this case, triple engined, lightweight, good weather protection. So theoretically, good fun as well as practical. Anyway, this is the first time I've ridden this bike. Stick around, stay tuned. I'll tell you what I think of it. So yeah, all joking apart, of course, we all love to ride, don't we, in sunny climes. But this sort of machine, which I suppose you could unfairly, gosh, I'm steaming up today, you could unfairly call it a commuter bike or a do-it-all, which it is. In reality, they're going to be ridden in conditions exactly like this. Well, certainly in Blighty anyway, because for half the year, this is the sort of riding conditions you get. It's a cold day, it's about 6 degrees. It's been raining seemingly non-stop for the last week, and sometimes you just need a bike that's going to get on with it. So actually I'm quite glad to be testing this bike for my first ride in these sort of conditions. And on this first ride I want to try and tackle as much as I can, because I haven't got this bike for very long. I've only got it for a few days. This is the press bike from Triumph UK. It's in great demand, as you can imagine. I'm one of the first to get hold of it, so I've only got it for a few days, so I won't be able to bring you quite as in-depth a review as I'd like to. But I'm going to ride it as much as I can on some faster roads in town, countryside here today, just to get a bit of a feel for what this bike would be like if you live with it. So what are my first impressions of it? Well, I'm a big fan of the Triumph Triple. They're masters of the Triple. The engine in this 660cc, but of course it's derived from the Triple that was first put back in the Daytona 675, which has since grown to the 765 that's in the Street Triple, and then they did some work on it, brought it back down to a 660 and put it in the likes of the Trident. So this engine is exactly the same as the one in the Trident, which I rode last year and I really liked actually. Triple engines for me are always in that sweet spot. You got the lower down grunt of a twin together with the smoothness of a four. So best of all worlds really. Hello sir. Not a nodder, the learner, he'll learn. So yeah, it's a beautiful engine this. It's lovely and smooth. It's got a 240-degree firing order to give it a bit of character. But on a road like this, here I'm 50 miles an hour, normal A road, just feels lovely and smooth. Before I get carried away with what the bike's like to ride, let me show you around this thing. Alright then, let's have a little look at the bike and some of the sort of styling features and cues on here. They've got some nice little touches on the Tiger 660. First off, the bike generally, I think, is quite a handsome looking machine. The front of it reminds me of my old 1050 Sport, of which more later, and that's not a bad thing by the way. It's sort of an upright traily type look. I really like the overall look of it. I think they've done a nice job on that. We've got the familiar triple engine that we've seen before in the Trident, and of course derived from the 765 Street Triple and Daytona. And if we look at some of the little features that I like about this, stuff like the mudguard on the front here. Look at this nice little touch here. We've got the Triumph logo on the front there, and this mudguard nicely styled. The Tiger Sport stuff here as well, LED lights, this beautiful fairing. I like what they've done here, some quality looking plastics as well, I'm glad to say. The little Euro 5 exhaust tucked underneath. So sorry about all the mess on here, Triumph. I'm not going to get a chance to clean the bike before it goes back either. But yeah, I think it's a nice looking bike. If I turn the ignition on, first off you get to see the little start-up routine there. Hopefully you can see that okay on the little display, which is excellent. But I want to show you the lights on here. Unfortunately, the sort of running light situation is like this. You've got one headlight on, and then you've got these little under eyebrow things, if that makes any sense at all. When you're normally running, I hate it when they only have one headlight on. It'd be nice if they're both on. When you put it onto full beam, just flick this. Actually, you just pull it forward like that. Then of course they both come on, and they look great. But yeah, normal situation, you're running with only one, which is a bit of a shame. But yeah, overall I think
Yeah, styling wise, really, really nice. I like the paint scheme as well. I think they've done a good job on this one. Right, that's enough chat, let's get back on.
Okay, so much for what the bike looks like. What's it like to ride? Well, for a comfort stakes, I can say it's very comfortable indeed. I'm sitting here pretty much straight backed and upright. My arms are in a very comfortable position. Nice wide arms on these handlebars. My legs feel like they're just under 90 degrees, but yeah, comfortable upright riding position. Got this big screen and fairing on here, so I'm protected. My body is protected from the wind up to about visor height. That's where, for me, the wind starts to hit me, but it's not a turbulent airflow. It's smooth airflow. The screen on this non-adjustable, but it seems to be doing a good job of keeping the worst of the airflow off me on this relatively fast 60-mile-an-hour road. So great job as far as weather protection is concerned. Bike doesn't come as standard with heated grips. They are an extra, which is something I would like to have seen to aid comfort. So I definitely spec those up if I was buying one of these bikes. So for the time being, I'm going to have to make do with my heated gloves today. Just coming on to a brief bit of dual carriageway here. Just overtake this car, so here we go. Yeah, actually when you wind it on, you've got plenty there. Its 80 brake horsepower is more than enough for the roads. It's always great, isn't it, for bragging rights to say that you've got loads of power, 200 brake horsepower or something, but let's be honest, on this sort of bike you really do not need that. Yeah, ample power for the roads. Let's wind her up now to 70 miles an hour. Now we're in the national speed limit area. Yeah, the wind protection is still pretty nice actually. As I say, a little bit of turbulence around head height for me. I'm 5'8", but it's not dirty air, so that's absolutely fine. And she feels like she's got, yeah, quite a lot more to give for overtakes as well. It seems good on faster roads. She's all there on comfort. Right, let's turn off and come down to ye olde Amersham, a slightly slower road, and we'll look out as we go through Amersham for some more traffic and stuff, because I feel this bike is likely to be used in the urban environment, so we'll head towards that sort of area. Right, nothing behind me. Just get around this corner and we'll just try the brakes. Right, front brake works very well. Quite a bit of fork dive there. I don't know if you saw that. I'll just try that again. Nothing behind me. Yeah, lots of fork dive, but the brakes feel actually a little bit grabby. I mean, they're just very good. It's not a criticism really. They're good brakes on here. Let's just try the rear. Oh, the rear is excellent. Just felt the ABS cut in a little bit there on these slippery roads as I did that. The bike, I'm glad to say, not overly laden with electronics. We'll go through all that when I go through the spec in a minute. It does have ABS, does have switchable traction control, and that's about it. You don't really need anything more than that, I'd say. Or it has got two riding modes as well, road and rain. I'm in rain mode at the moment for obvious reasons. Suspension on here, to me, is in that Goldilocks zone. It's quite a plush ride actually. It's on the softer side, you know. If there's a firm end of the spectrum and a soft end, well, this is towards the soft end, which is good for a bike of this type. If you want to do some miles on it, go touring, you absolutely could, because did I mention the seat? The seat on here is nice and comfy as well. It's not super soft, but it's nice and big, and you can move around on it. I think it'll suit people of a variety of sizes. Gosh, the state of these potholes here, terrible. Right, I mean, what am I doing? 23 miles an hour in third gear, absolutely no complaints from the bike at all. These days, even though in these days of high octane fuel and Euro 5 emissions and all that, Trump seems to have sorted out the fueling on this bike. Let's bring her down to second and ride really slowly. But here we are, second gear, 13 miles an hour, smooth as you like, no complaints. So slow speed handling is lovely. Where should we go? Let's go straight on. Try to avoid getting killed or thrown off on these potholes. Mirrors on here work really well. They're nice and big, great view behind. No vibrations I've noticed in them thus far. Nice balance on here. Look at this, 3 miles an hour, feet up, 2 miles an hour, feet up, 1 mile an hour. Okay, feet down now. But yeah, nice balance about the bike as well. Good sort of road presence on here with this big fairing, and because you're sitting quite high up as well, you can see over traffic and stuff and work your way through. So perfect commuter bike for weaving through traffic. It feels nice and light actually. It feels lovely and light compared to the bikes that I'm used to riding. Switch gear on here, nice and simple. What I do like about the switch gear, particularly on the left hand handlebar, which I'll show you in a second, I'm going to get a chance to nip over this roundabout. Yeah, what I do like about the switch gear on here is that Triumph have elected to put these buttons on here to select your various menu options. I just find these easier to use than the little joystick you sometimes get. So full marks for the switch gear here, not lit, but there we go, not many bikes are. On the right hand side, just the on off or start stop button and hazard lights. Indicators are easy to get hold of. So yeah, nice simple switch gear that all works as you'd expect. Nothing fiddly about that, I like that a lot. And then instrumentation wise, it's got a very similar display to that on the Trident, which I kind of raved about at the time. I assume it is TFT. I mean, it's got colour bits on it. It's like 2 screens, top one with your speed on, proper fuel gauge and your rev counter, bottom one with the other bits and pieces that you can flick through. So at the moment I'm showing gear position, time and date. You can flick through the various trips, fuel status, temperature gauge, all that kind of, all the normal stuff is on there. I like that presentation. I think it's really clear. I'm sometimes critical. Let's just slow down as we go past this camera. I'm sometimes critical about displays on Triumphs, but I have to say, on the 660 Sport, they've got that display nice. I like that. It's got everything you need, no more besides, and it's easy to use, clear to read. I like it. Alright, before we get to ride through town here, let's jump off the bike again, and I'll talk you through the spec of this machine.
Alright, let's talk numbers then. What are the specs on the Tiger 660 Sport? Well, as ever, I've written them down so I don't make any errors, although I probably will, because I normally do. Let's start off then with that engine, which is such a good feature of this bike. 660cc triple, 240-degree firing order, as I say. Same engine as in the Trident. This one puts out 80 brake horsepower at 10,250 RPM and 64 newton meters of torque at 6,250. So usable power where you need it. It's not going to win any races necessarily, but it is a lovely, lovely unit. The seat height on here is actually 835mm, which I class as quite tall. It's relatively narrow. You can see it's sculpted in there, so I can get my feet down fine on the deck. I'm basically on my, not on my tiptoes, on the balls of my feet at 5'8", so not good if you're really short, I think. But for my, as I say, 5'8", I find it absolutely fine, and because the bike feels very manageable, it's not a problem at all, that seat height. The weight of this bike, 206 kilograms wet, but it actually feels much lighter than that, and that is the wet weight, so not hugely heavy for this style of bike, but it certainly feels lighter than 206 kilograms would have you think. Tank capacity on here, 17.2 litres. Triumph claim 63 miles per gallon, so you can expect a pretty reasonable range out of this as well. Let's have a look at the front brakes on here. These are Nissin 4-pot calipers on dual discs. These are 310mm discs on here, and you can see you've got Showa upside down separate function forks on here as well, so the suspension and brakes are all top quality. On the back end, Nissin single pot on a sort of smaller disc, and you've got you know, normal single monoshock on the back, and nice little touch, it has got a little remote preload adjuster just there, so you don't have to fiddle about with C-spanners, which is a nice touch. You can see how much the muck gets thrown up on here, but the mudguard seems to be doing a reasonable job of, and this number plate out the back as well, of keeping the mud off my back, I'm glad to say. But of course I would probably put a tail side on here, and then suddenly you get mud all up your back, but there we go. What else to say about the spec? Well, price, I guess, got to mention that. 8,450 according to the website. Depends a little bit on the colours you go. I think some of them are more expensive than others. It comes in this red, a blue and a grey. Personally, I prefer the grey scheme. You can get an A2 license friendly version of this, so you can get a dealer restriction on it, so that if you've got the lesser license you can ride it. And Triumph also claimed the lowest cost of ownership of any bike in this category, because it's got the old 10,000 mile service interval. I always find that's a bit disingenuous though, because that's 10,000 miles all 1 year, so if you don't do 10,000 miles in that year, you've still got to get it serviced. So so take that with a little bit of a pinch of salt, I think. And there are loads of accessories as well to make this your own, including full luggage for the back, which is integrated into these little slots in the back here. You can get a quick shifter up and down, heated grips, centre stand, all the stuff to make this your own and make it into a really good all-rounder bike. All right, that's enough chat, let's get back on her.
Okay, welcome back aboard the bike as we get into Amersham now. This is the underground station at Amersham, so this is kind of the nearest urban centre to where I live, if you like. Not that it's particularly urban, it's very suburban, isn't it? But a good chance to see what the bike's like in this sort of area, if there is any traffic about today. Recording this on a Friday lunchtime. Very quiet. Roll on summer, eh? Cannot come soon enough. Something that really does strike me about this bike is it's just very easy to ride. It'd be a fantastic bike as your first machine. I do like this sort of size bike, I must say. It's got a good balance between usable power. Right, let's go this way. Between usable power and not too heavy and ponderous. So perfect in town. You know, if you're in a really busy city or something, weaving through traffic and so on will be easy on this. And again, if you want to get to work on it, with the good weather protection and stuff, great all year round. And you could use it weekends for fun as well. I imagine this would be great for touring. One of the accessories that Triumph do for this bike is full luggage, top box and panniers, so you could go away on this as well. Gearbox on here, lovely and snickable. Lovely light clutch too. Triumph again have got these clutches sorted now. These slip and assist clutches, you can be fairly ham-fisted with them. The bike doesn't lurch all around the place, which I like. And super light clutch to pull as well, so not fatiguing. Again, if you're in traffic on and off the clutch all the time, you'll have no problems on this. What a filthy day, eh? Well, I think back to my old 1050 Sport that I used to own. My first sort of big, sort of touring bike, if you like. This is just so much better. Oh, I love that bike. It looks sort of similar, as I said, and had all the same sort of practicalities. But that bike, as much as I loved its 1050 engine out of the Speed Triple on that one, it was heavy and it was top heavy, so it's quite difficult to live with. Whereas this, dead easy to live with. Moving this around the garage and stuff has not been a problem in the couple of days that I've had it. So this first ride, very little to not like about the bike, I have to say. It's I'm desperately trying to find something I don't like about it. I quite like the fact that it's got minimal electronics, it's got the stuff you need and nothing else besides. It's not keyless, I like that. The weather protection's good, I like the display. Simple to ride, sounds good, goes well. Really is an excellent bike. Quite a competitive field this. Got bikes like the Tracer 7 in this category, and then of course the V-Strom 650 versus 650, the Aprilia 660 as well in here. All that's a little bit more expensive than those others, but I think it stacks up against the competition really well. I mean, if you're in the market for one of these bikes, go out and check them all, see which one you like, and go with the one you like the look of, I guess, because they're all pretty good. But this is definitely up there with the best of them. The ride on it is lovely. Yeah, I real struggle to find anything about this bike I don't like, and whenever that happens I have people say, oh, he's only saying good things because he's desperate for Triumph to loan him bikes. Well, believe you me, I have far more bikes that I can borrow than I have time to actually ride, so it wouldn't matter to me one iota if Triumph said, oh, you're not borrowing our bikes anymore because you said nasty things about us. And by the way, Triumph have never said that, and in fact no manufacturer have ever said that to me. That's one of the good things about this YouTubing lark. You never get, well, I haven't ever experienced any steerage about having to say anything about bikes, so you can say what you like and the manufacturers take it on the chin. But in the case of this, the 660, it really is an excellent bike. Well, I have to see if I can get it again in the summer, maybe take it out for some longer rides. I think this would be great as a touring option. So there we are, that's my first ride on the 660 Sport. I don't know if I'm going to have a chance to bring you any more on the bike, because as I say, I haven't got it for very long. It's got to go back in a couple of days, and the weather forecast is horrible. This was basically the best day I could come out on it, would you believe? So sorry it's been a bit of a grungy video. Videos always look better in the sunshine, don't they? But in this case, I had no choice. But I did think it was a realistic review, because you know, this is the sort of weather most of us ride in most of the time, isn't it? And if you do have to ride all year round in scuddy weather like this, then don't forget, kit is very important. I'm wearing some new kit at the moment. This is my Rucker Nivala kit. I've only been wearing this for a few weeks, so I'll bring you a full review in the fullness of time on it. But it's Gore-Tex Pro, proper laminated stuff. Very expensive, but my goodness me, it's brilliant. It's a cold day today, but I'm warm as you like in here. All I've got on underneath this is a base layer and a t-shirt, and then the Rucker kit, and I am as warm and dry as toasty as you like. If you want to find out where you can buy this, I'll put a link below to bikerheads.co.uk. You can find your local stockist, and I'll put a link as well to Sports Bike Shop, which is where I buy all my stuff if I'm going online, to check them out. This, I have to say, so far it's been the best kit I've ever worn in the winter. I've been wearing this Rucker stuff now throughout this winter, and it's been absolutely brilliant. Yes, it's expensive, but you tend to get what you pay for. It is properly warm, properly waterproof, nice and protective. I'm looking forward to riding it in the summer, with it in the summer as well, to see how it goes then. But anyway, I will bring you a full review of this kit towards the end of the year when I've had a whole season in it. But as far as the 660 Tiger Sport is concerned, that's it for my first ride. Hope you enjoyed that. If you've not done so already, do hit the subscribe button. It'd be great to have you along on the next video. I don't just do bike reviews here on the Missing Flyer, but trips and tours at home and abroad, monthly bike news, bits and pieces about how to look after your bike, stuff in the garage. I'll try and keep a bit of variety. I'll even do the odd live stream. There's one of those coming up soon, so if you're interested in a bit of online chat, as I say, do hit that subscribe button, and I look forward to speaking to you again soon. Until then, this has been the Missing Flyer. Cheerio.